Hello! This video will explain how to complete the financial statement form for international applicants to the SAELL Intensive English Program at Northeastern Illinois University, or NEIU. This form must be completed because international applicants to the SAELL Intensive English Program must show that they or their sponsor hasn't have enough funds to pay for their studies and their living expenses while they are in the United States studying in our program. NEIU does not provide any scholarship or funding for international students who will be studying in the SAELL program, so students must show that they have enough money to study in our program and to live in the United States for the amount of time that they will be here. This form and proof of funds or a bank statement must be provided to NEIU so that NEIU can create the Form I-20, which is the U.S. government form that an applicant needs in order to apply for an F1 student visa. So this form that you're looking at is for academic year 2024 through 2025. And in future years, it will be a similar form, maybe with some different numbers, but the process that I'm going to explain will be the same. So you can see on this form that there are sort of two columns. One column here in blue is for students who will be studying for 1 semester or 4 months. This column over here in green is for students who will be studying for 1 year or 3 semesters in our program. So the numbers are a little bit different, and I'll explain each part. This first row shows tuition and fees. So this is how much it will cost to study in our program. This is what you will pay the university. If you're studying for 1 semester or 4 months in our program, $4,200 is the cost of the program. If you'll be studying for 3 semesters, it will cost $12,600. The next part is your estimated living expenses. This is what it will cost for your health insurance, because if you need to see a doctor or go to the hospital while you're in the United States, you must have health insurance to pay for that. The government does not pay for that in the United States. You also must be able to buy food, groceries, or restaurant meals, and transportation, money for the bus or the train, or for fuel for a car. For 1 semester or 4 months, we estimate that you will need about $2,700 to do that. If you'll be here for a full year or 3 semesters, we estimate you'll need $8,100 for those things. Next are your housing costs, how much it will cost for your home or the place you will live here in the United States. There are 2 choices. You can stay in an off-campus apartment. That's an apartment that you find on your own. The university does not help you find off-campus housing, but if you rent an apartment, there are many good apartments nearby our campus. You'll enter into a lease or an agreement with the building owner. And if you do that, we estimate it will cost about $4,700 for 4 months, or about $14,090 for a full year. The other option is to choose campus housing. We do have apartments available on our campus. It's called the Nest. And if you choose that option, you'll live in an apartment with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and that will be with 3 other students. For 4 months, that will cost $5,100, or for 1 year, we estimate it'll cost $12,040. So these numbers get added up, your tuition and fees, your living expenses, and then your housing costs. And in this section, you must mark an X in only one box. So again, if you'll be here for 1 semester or 4 months and you'll be staying in an off-campus apartment, check this box. If you'll be staying for 1 semester or 4 months and you'll be living in campus housing on campus, check this box. If you'll be studying for 1 year and you'll be staying in an off-campus apartment, check this box. If you'll be studying for 1 year and you'll be living in campus housing on campus, check this box. And that is the amount of money you must show that you or your sponsor has in order for us to issue the Form I-20. Again, for 1 semester with off-campus housing, you'll need to show $11,600. For 1 semester with on-campus housing, $12,000. For 1 year with off-campus housing, $34,790. For 1 year with on-campus housing, $32,740. So in this section, you should be marking one box. Choose this one, this one, this one, or this one. Next, if you are going to be bringing dependents, a wife or a husband or some children, you must tell us that. So if you're going to be bringing anyone with you to the United States, check yes. If you'll be coming by yourself with no dependents, check no. Now, if you will be bringing dependents, you will need to show that you have extra funds, more money, for their living expenses. For a wife or husband, called a spouse, you'll need this much money. For 4 months or for 1 year, for a wife or husband, this much money extra. Each child, you'll need to show this much money for 4 months or this much money for 1 year. Also, if you're bringing dependents, we'll need you to submit additional documents, things like their passports, a marriage certificate, birth certificates. Next, this portion of the form you must complete along with your sponsor. Now, the sponsor is the person who's going to be paying for your studies and your living expenses while you're in the United States. If you're paying for those things yourself, then you are your own sponsor. But if your parents or your family members or your friends are going to be your sponsors, they must complete this part of the form with you. They must put their name, their address where they live, their phone number and email address, and their relationship to you. So if they are your parent, they can write father or mother. If they're a family member, they can write uncle, aunt, cousin, or if they're a friend, they can write friend. If you are your own sponsor, you can write self and put your own information here. If you have more than one sponsor, that is fine, but you will need to complete a separate financial form with each of your sponsors. Then your sponsor must sign here indicating that they say, I will provide financial support toward this student's educational and living expenses for the full length of their program at NEIU, and I have submitted an official bank letter or bank statement. They should write the date here. This section you should complete. So this is your surname. Sometimes we call it a last name or a family name. This is your first name. Sometimes we call it a given name. And then please mark an X in the box for the term when you will be starting your studies. If you're going to be beginning in August, check this box for fall. Beginning in January, check this box for spring. Beginning in May, check this box for summer. Then you should sign your name here and put the date here. And when you sign, you are showing that I promise that the information here about the money for my studies in the United States is true and complete. And I understand that giving wrong or dishonest information could lead to the end of my enrollment and ending of my I-20 at Northeastern Illinois University. Okay. The second page is just additional information. There's nothing you need to write on the second page, but it's information for you about the kind of documents that must be submitted with this financial statement form. It indicates that all bank documents must be in English or certified by an English translator. The bank documents must be on official letterhead and have a bank seal, or they must be notarized. The bank documents must have the full name of the account holder. They must show the currency and US dollar equivalency. And your bank documents must show at least 3 months of financial transactions. So you must show that there are deposits and debits from that account over at least 3 months. If you have your own money, you're a self-sponsor, you submit, again, a bank letter, and it must be dated within 6 months of the program start date. But if a sponsor is a family member, a relative, a friend, keep in mind that the money must be from a personal account. So we cannot accept a bank statement from a business account. The money must be able to be accessed during the study program. They must be able to take the money out. The money, if the sponsor is in the United States, they must be a U.S. citizen, a permanent resident of the United States, or on a visa that permits them to work. You can have a combination of funds from more than one sponsor, but the total amount of money must be enough for all of your tuition and living expenses. If your sponsor lives outside of the United States, the bank statement or bank letter must be dated within 6 months of your program start date. The bank statement must have 3 to 6 months of detailed financial transactions, debits and credits. If your sponsor is currently living in the United States, the bank statement or bank letter must be dated within 6 months of your program start date, and the bank statement must have 3 to 6 months of detailed financial transactions. But if your sponsor is living in the United States and you plan to live with them while you study, the bank statement or bank letter must be dated within 6 months of your program start date. The bank statement must have 3 to 6 months of detailed financial transactions, and it must be you must have a signed and notarized letter stating exactly what the living expense sponsor will pay for. It must be dated within the last 6 months. The letter must state the living expense sponsor's relationship to you and the period of time they will support you. And you must have them complete a U.S. government form called the I-134 Affidavit of Support, and they must complete it and sign it. You can find that form at this web address. When you go to your visa interview at the U.S. Embassy or Consulate, you must bring original documents. So the original financial form that you're completing here, as well as all of the bank statements from your sponsor. Now, again, you can have any combination of funds and sponsor support as long as you show that you have enough to pay for all expenses. And this section here is just an example of a bank letter that your bank could write to show that they have an account at your bank. So this is a sample letter. Your bank can use this to create the letter that we need, but you also must show at least 3 months of financial transactions. So you can usually download a detailed report from your bank's account online, or you can go to your bank in person and ask them to print out a detailed statement of transactions of at least 3 months. Now, any letter from your bank must be signed and sealed by a designated bank official, and it must have a bank seal or be notarized. It should also be on the bank letterhead. Please make sure that you upload this completed form to your applicant portal along with the bank statement or bank letter from your sponsor. And if you have any questions about this process, please contact the SAELL Intensive English Program or the Office of International Programs at Northeastern Illinois University.